This is Herb Grosinger again, going into part 3 of the Coolidge Teapot Dome scandal. I left off where the Boston police strike was finally settled by Coolidge and became pretty famous throughout the country. And now we're going into the time period of where the 1920 convention is starting for the presidential election for the Republican Party. As I said, Harding was a long shot, and there was a wildcatter, oil specialist, wealthy guy in Oklahoma by the name of Jake Hammond. Jake Hammond wanted very badly to be able to take control of the naval reserve, oil reserves in Wyoming, California, and that area. And he had approached Wilson and asked him if there's any way that he could start drilling in the oil reserves. And Wilson turned him down flatly. He said no. So he then approached the Interior Secretary, who was Franklin K. Lane. And there's a high school in Brooklyn by the name of Franklin K. Lane. And Lane, after listening to Hammond, decided he's not going to allow him to go into the naval reserves and start drilling no matter what. And he tried to bribe him, but it was to no avail. So as a result, Hammond thought, well, now's the perfect time to be able to influence the Republican convention of 1920, and he's going to back Harding. And he got in touch with Harding's campaign manager. His name was Doherty. Doherty was pretty much of a wheeler dealer, and he had campaigned other presidential nominees, and he was receptive to getting backing from this oil millionaire, Jake Hammond. And so Hammond went and borrowed $1 million and backed the Harding campaign and spread the money throughout the delegates. And lo and behold, Warren Harding, a long shot senator from Ohio, became the nominee for the Republican Party. But there was a caveat. There was a deal that Hammond wanted to make. And that deal was that Jake Hammond wanted to be able to be elected or appointed as Secretary of the Interior so that he could transfer the oil reserves, the naval oil reserves that the government controlled, into private hands. And he had Harry Sinclair in mind, who was the owner and big oil man of that period of time, and it was Sinclair Oil. And he made a deal with Sinclair that if he could transfer those oil reserves into his possession, he would get 1/3 of the revenues. Now here is a corruption deal that was being made before the 1920 elections. Once that deal was made and Harding was elected president with Coolidge as a running mate, at the time they ran against a fellow by the name of Cox, who was the governor of Ohio, and Franklin Delano Roosevelt as the vice presidential nominee